o'clock in English when we're a little bit late. It's one of the toughest way to keep an audience entertained. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for all the interesting part. I'm excited to see where we are as cybergenics, something I did research for in 30 years ago. So I spent most of my career within healthcare in different formats. And today I find myself about to take over general manager for UCB Turkey, which is a Belgian pharmaceutical company. But today I'm here as head of strategy for something we call international markets. And those are the markets where we operate in outside Europe and US. And not surprisingly, my key focus the last 5 years has been digital. So I wanted to take maybe the next 15 minutes to share our 3 key insights. I'm going to talk about networking, I'm going to talk about connections, and I'm going to talk about personalizations. Since it's 4 o'clock, I'm also going to ask you questions where I'm going to expect you to raise your hand for A, B, and C. So we could keep it a little bit more engaging here in the end. But before we get started, I just wanted to share something that happened to me in the beginning of the year. So I was at a similar conference in Shanghai. We had a great conference, conversation. You have seen some of the data from China. They're doing great in digital. Afterwards, we were walking down the streets in Shanghai, and I heard this really great music. And I was thinking, oh, let's go to this restaurant. There seems to be like an orchestra playing. And to my surprise, I came up to this gentleman. A single man with a single guitar. You see, he has some digital means, and really successful. He came across as a full orchestra. So digital success comes in many ways. This is Mr. Chang. He's trying to raise money for his 10-year-old daughter who has a neuromuscular disease, and they can't really get that treatment in Shanghai, so he was trying to raise money for going to the US. And clearly I was really touched by this because I have a daughter that is 10 years old as well. And I wanted to give him some money to help him in this part. I'm not sure how you are when you travel, but I don't tend to take out money, so I couldn't pay him. And I asked my friends, so how can I do? And he really looked at me and wondering, what is money? It was a long time ago since most of the people in Shanghai carried any cash. Everything happens through QR codes. So here we're having street musicians using everything possible to get money for his daughter, using QR codes. This is a technology that came from the US. You might have heard of Apple Pay. Apple Pay failed because there was no real need for it. It's like 10% usage in the US. WePay in China has 99% usage. So it's about really connecting the technology with the need. And it got me thinking about this idea that Plato said for a long, long time ago, that necessity is the mother of invention. And I think that is one of the key points for us to be successful going forward, is to connect the need with the innovation that we have. From my trip in Shanghai, I went to, I will not mention the country, but the Southeast Asian markets. And I was going to have a meeting in a hospital. And I came and they said, like, yes, download the app and it will guide you to it. Brilliant, super exciting, right, having an app again. And I was thinking about, what about my mother? If my mother would come here, would she download an app? Would she need an app to get to the right place in a hospital? I think we have fundamentally failed in that sense. Nothing against the app, but it shouldn't be needed in that sense. The need shouldn't be there. And if you're looking into then how much money we're spending globally on digital transformation, it's $2.5 trillion. And this, for me, is an example of this. Roughly 70% of those fail to reach their goals. 70% fail to reach their goals. I'm sure this app is brilliant, but there was a need that shouldn't exist. So when I said I would ask you a few questions to keep you engaged. So we're here, we're 4 o'clock, we're doing this in English. So think back the last 5 years. What has been the primary driver of digital transformation? Is it, what is the biggest buzzword in here, Gen I? Or is it COVID? So I'm going to do a quick poll because I need your blood flowing. So how many votes for A? No one? 1, 2. How many votes for B? All right, let's go with B. And why is that? It's because Gen I is a technology, and COVID released and shared a lot of needs that had been unfilled, or created a lot of new needs as well. And I think that is the one most crucial part that we have within our industry. We have a lot of needs. But it's about connecting those with the digital solutions that we have. So if we're looking into the current dynamics, and I think this is probably one of the best snapshots, if you want to take a picture of anything to remember from this one, this is now, is from World Health Economic Forum of the different trends that impact healthcare and healthcare inventory. So, not surprisingly, if we're developing apps for finding our ways in hospital, there is a lot of investment going into healthcare. I saw it earlier, what we're seeing, that 40%, we talked about why we need to address different aspects as well. You're seeing some on the right-hand side here that COVID really showed as well of the health disparities, burnout of workers. You're talking about mental health, so digital is good, but I'm not sure if you heard it from last week, Australia is trying to ban social media for under 16 to keep the mental health higher. Right? And then, of course, with all of this comes macroeconomic challenges. But maybe there's positivity coming from this as well, because it might help us with scientific innovations. And clearly, representing a pharmaceutical company, this is super exciting for us. But equally so, how do we connect? And that's why we're here, because we can't do it by ourselves. And we talked about a lot of different cases, and I think this is one of those as well, right? So alternative care models, so how do we care? And for us, we kind of summarize this in 3 different areas, where digital would like to help us to advance the scientific innovations. Evidence generation. I saw some of, I think you were showing evidence generation as well. We saw it earlier today about what are those? But evidence generation for all stakeholders in that case, being it the patient that my treatment is working, being it from a physician that I know I'm giving the right diagnosis, is it for the payers that I know I get my money back, is it for a pharmaceutical industry that we're knowing that our innovation works or not. Those 2 combined leads us to a very interesting perspective of patient experience, which was mentioned here earlier as well. So if I'm just taking the first one and seeing on that, looking into your industry, in your country in that case, what is your primary driver? I'm going to give you 3 examples because I know it's 4 o'clock. Is it leveraging AI to kind of identify patterns going forward? Is it a way to reach out to friends, so we're networking quite a lot here? Or is it to somehow implement data management? And I'm putting this in the lens of scientific innovation. Clearly, these are applicable to all these different parts here. But I'm going to do this voting again. So, to drive scientific innovation, that's important, scientific innovation. Is it AI? There's a primary driver. Is it collaboration? Is it data management? It's roughly 30, 30, 30. So for us then, we're a mid-sized pharma. And as a consequence in mid-sized pharma, we can't invest as much as some of our bigger competitors see here. So for us, it's about partnerships. And that's one of the key reasons why we are here. And how does that look like? I hope I have the technology with me because I just wanted to show a quick video regarding that. No, I do not have the audio with me. Can I get the audio as well? Tech, can I get the audio in the presentation as well? Let's try that again. So it's still in the afternoon. Are we good?
So the COVID Moonshot is a loose collaboration of a number of pharma, academics, research institutes to find a solution to the COVID pandemic. Where UCB believe we can really make an impact in this space is computational drug design.
The UCB technology we applied to tackle this challenge starts with large-scale simulations, and that requires a lot of computing power and a lot of data processing.
We reached out to Microsoft and the AI for Health team. A week after that, we actually started work within the Azure platform. We ran something like 275,000 hours of CPU time across data centers, both in Europe and in the US during this process. Using available UCB resource, it would have taken us something like 6 months. With Microsoft Azure, this has taken us 3 days.
They enabled us to do what we couldn't have imagined to do. The designs coming out of this collaboration with Microsoft Azure team are amongst the front runners right now.
Finding cures, finding the ability to really help is not something which one company can do by themselves. You don't get there alone, you get there together.
You don't get there alone, you get there together. So it's a very nice American production because it was Microsoft who did it. But the key message, and it's one of my first key messages, you don't get there alone, you get there together. And I think I've seen a bit of that today and yesterday of, hey, I'm coming up with this a great idea, I need to solve it by myself. Let's not. Let's partner in this one. If we're then going into the evidence generations, I'm giving you the 3 different examples here again, and I'm going to speed up the presentations to keep you engaged for the last 5 minutes. It's slightly different. So, evidence generation, is it AI that drives that? Is it collaboration that drives that? Or is it data management that drives that? Is it quite clear on the last one? We had a quite heated discussion just before lunch regarding this one. So evidence generation then. How do we get data and maybe more, why do we need to get it together? Because I don't think artificial intelligence would really replace it, or data management that we're building up will not. And it's a very nice thing to say, but a healthcare professional using AI will. If we don't get this right, someone will replace us. It's a long way to go before we start connecting healthcare across industries, across countries, but it's not as far as we think. So unless we're getting the data in line to get it to use, for instance, in this case, a physician doing diagnosis, it will be brutal. And I think Turkey in particular has a wonderful opportunity here. And I just wanted to share a second video from Jagbur, who's as a potential patient here living with TK2D. She's a Turkish one. And I have one key message with this one. I'm just going to let you to listen to it. Do we have the audio for this one? I think it will be texted in English with Turkish sound. Please be aware that she has TK2D, so it's not the best verbal perspective.
Ben Yağmur Kiriş, 27 yaşındayım. Türkiye'de yaşıyorum. TK2 tanısı konabilen şanslı yetişkinlerden biriyim. Açıkçası ben doğduğumda vücut fonksiyonlarım, görünüşüm, normal sağlıklı bir bebekle aynıyım. Annem ben 1 yaşına gelene kadar herhangi bir farklılık olmadığını, ancak 1 yaşında sadece yürümek için yerden ayağa kalkarken dizimden destek aldığımı fark ediyor. Daha sonra bir sürü tetkikler, tahliller, incelemeler sonucunda 2 yaşında mitokondriyal biyopati tanısı oluyor. Ancak biz uzun yıllar bu tanının tam bir tanı olmadığını bilmiyorduk. 6 yaşında bir çocuk için yaşıtlarıyla oyunların hepsini oynayamamak, dışlanmak, anlaşılmamak zaten yeterince zordu. 15 yaşıma kadar hafif boyutlu güçsüzlükler vardı. Merdiven çıkma zorluğu, koşamama, yürürken destek alma gibi. Hastalığın ilerlemiş haliyle ne olacağını düşünüyorum. Bana bu tanı konması tam 21 sene sürdü. Tüm genelizin sonucunda onunla gerçek anlamda tanıştım. Ama en azından yaşadıklarımı açıklayabiliyordu. Bu her şeyi bildiğim, yaşadığım bir şeyin ismini öğrenmek gibiydi benim için. TK2'ni belirtiler hakkında yeterli bilgi bulunmaması, bu sürecin detaylarının tam bilinmemesi, kısaca hastalığın tanınmaması, ne yazık ki bu tür nadir hastalıklara da eskiden beri olan bir tutum var. Tahlillerde ve gözle görülmeyen belirtiler bir anlam ifade etmiyor.
So 21 years to get a diagnosis. Let that sink in for a second. 21 years to get a full diagnosis. We need to solve that. We need to solve that together. Yes, it's a Turkish example. This is a similar one from Canada with axial spondylitis, where it takes on average 9 years. So it's not a Turkish challenge, it's a global challenge for us to really connect the medical health records to really accelerate diagnosis. And I think we have a golden opportunity here. To just close this out then, I wanted to touch upon the last one, about patient experience, because non-adherence to treatment is one of the most preventable and most costly component. I asked ChatGPT, because we discussed that, and they gave me roughly $1.5 to $3 trillion of lack of adherence. So if we would increase adherence in this case, you're having, I would say, the chronic diseases, we would fund the entire globalization of digital treatment. Adherence, how do we get there? You're seeing a lot of them out there. There's a lot of cool apps. You could have it as a medical education as well. You could have it as connecting with your parts. The challenge is to find someone that would partner us with. This is an example of what we did in Germany for myasthenia gravis. We did something similar in the US, where we actually, in the end, published the outcome of this. So it's a very simple graph, because I don't want to bore you with graphs. But the improvement with digital support to adherence is amazing. So just to summarize those 3 keys then, for us to be successful, we need to find partners that share our visions. We need to work quite a lot on creating and connecting health records. And I think with the digital solutions that we have, it's about personalizing treatments. So imagine now going back to Mr. Chang. He's 5 years in the future. He has treatment of his daughter. Will she get the best treatment? Will they have the best future? I really hope so. But let's build that together for him in his future. Thank you very much.